Hello there, my beautiful souls, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, I have author, speaker, and life coach Terry Sidford. She is the author of two books, Truth, Courage, Love, and 100 Hearts Inspiring Stories from the Women Who Live Them. And today, we talked all about courage. We talked about what it means to be courageous and how it impacts our lives when we are, and how we can start leaning into courage if we are struggling, if we're struggling to find the strength inside of us to take the big steps or even just the small steps that will move us towards the life we want to lead, towards a life of meaning, passion, purpose, and a life that feels like us, feels genuinely like who we were born to be. I love this conversation with Terry. She is just a light in the world, and it was so much fun. So I think you're going to enjoy listening to it. Before we start, I want to remind you, if you are not signed up for my newsletter yet, please do that. The link is in the show notes, or you can head over to my website, katiefarinas.com, and just hit the little newsletter tab at the top, and you can sign up there. I love my newsletter community. You're going to hear actually in this episode about my entry into the writing world and how I never thought of myself as a writer until I started my newsletter. And I really have a tremendous amount of passion for my newsletter and what I put into it, and for the people who are receiving it. Not only that the words that they're reading am I passionate about, but the energy that comes off of the page as they read it. So there's lots of love placed behind this newsletter, as well as tons of beautiful information, wisdom for myself from guests who come on the show, from ancient wisdom traditions, modern psychology. We really cover the gamut on how we can use all of these resources to help us live a life of meaning, purpose, service, passion, and deep fulfillment. So head on over to that link or to my website and sign up, and I will talk to you at the end. Hey, gorgeous souls, and welcome to the Midlife Purpose Project. I'm your host, Katie Farinas, a yoga teacher and soul purpose coach. And just like you, I'm navigating the wild, beautiful, and sometimes messy terrain of midlife. This is the space where we unpack the shifts happening in our bodies, minds, and souls. We're diving deep into the questions that rise up when everything seems to be changing. Think of this as your toolkit for making sense of this powerful phase of life. We'll have honest conversations, belly laughs, maybe a few tears, and a whole lot of growth. We'll hear from experts on topics that matter to you in midlife, and I'll share yogic philosophy that has been helping humans live with more skill and ease for centuries. Because here's the truth. Everything you've been through, every challenge, every joy, every heartbreak, has been training you for this. You're not broken, you're not lost. You're stepping into your power. So come on in, embrace the mess, the beauty, and the absolute magic of midlife. Let's journey together. All right. Hi, Terry, and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to have this conversation with you today.
I am too. I'm very excited about this talk we're about to have. But before we do that, would you mind just introducing yourself to the audience, telling us what you do, why you do what you do, and a little bit about the path or the journey that led you to where you are?
Yes, I would love to. My name is Terry Sidford. I am a life coach. I'm an author. I'm a speaker. I'm a TEDx speaker. And my whole passion in life is living my dream so that I can help others do the same. And that's been my journey through my own life experiences. That's why I wrote a book about women in courage, because I turned a lot of my own stories of trials into resilience and power. And that's all I've wanted to do since, is to help others do the same. And it's been a journey, and it's been an incredible journey. And in midlife as well, I have lived my passions out throughout my life. And I'm very proud to say that I can walk the talk, and it's never too late. So there's a lot of things that I'm doing now, continuing to do to help others live their best and fullest life.
Yeah, yeah. I love that you're still doing the work. I'm also the same thing. I'm like, guys, I'm in this with you. This is a practice. It never ends. You'll never stop growing, changing, evolving, learning, needing to have courage, and being a beginner. I think we stop being a beginner in midlife. And when we forget that it's not only okay, but to our benefit to be a novice at something, it opens up the world. So, but that takes courage, right? Because we don't know what we're doing, and we might feel scared or silly, or like we might be judged, or maybe we won't be good at it. And so I think that's something that a lot of women, they stop themselves out of those fears.
Yes, and one thing on that subject, what I think is so important and what I talk about is that after 50, I started to live in that uncomfortable place, that zone. And
Mhm.
that's where my most beautiful and wonderful things that I've experienced and learned have come from. And so now, if I'm not living in that little space, I actually look forward to it and
Yeah.
want to do more. And recently, I decided to take singing lessons. And
Oh,
I
that's
don't.
amazing.
Never too late, right? So,
Right?
it's really the courage is to step into that uncomfortable place, but on the other side of it is really a feeling of excitement and,
Yes.
and amazing things can happen there.
Yes, I totally agree. And I want to come back to that. But give us a little bit. Was there a time in your life where you weren't there, where you were not feeling courageous, and how did you get there? How did you get to that point where you said, I'm going to step into the unknown and be courageous?
I love this question, and so many things just went through my head. Um, And I'm going to go back to a very defining moment in my life that just stood out when you asked that question. And it's in my book, my memoir, my latest book, Truth, Courage, and Love. And it was a moment where I had encountered a con artist boyfriend, lost everything, ended up sleeping on my girlfriend's couch, still had a job. Thank goodness. And I saved enough money to rent a room out of a, apartment complex. And I remember I didn't have a bed, any furniture, there was nothing on the walls. And I sat there on the floor feeling sorry for myself. And I cried and cried and said, I'm a good person. Why did this happen to me? And, but in that moment, after I cried for hours, all of a sudden the light bulb went on. And what I learned in that moment was that anyone can take away material things in your life or even emotionally, but they can never take away your soul. And in
Yeah.
that moment, I knew that that soul was there and it was strong and it was courageous and it had love and compassion, strength, all of it.
Yeah.
And no one could ever take that away from me again. And so that moment was, I wasn't courageous at all in that moment before until I switched my perspective or mindset. So that's what comes to,
Yeah.
so it was a defining
Yeah.
moment in my life from there.
Yes. Yes, that is a huge moment. And for you to be able, and I've heard other people with this similar type of story of I lost everything. And that's the moment when I realized that I was none of those things, that I was so much more than any of those things, and that no one could actually take for anything from me because all of those other things really didn't matter. And you hate to have to get to that moment to realize that beautiful truth, but also then you get to live the rest of your life with that knowing, and what a gift and a blessing, because I think many people go their whole lives without really truly fully deeply knowing that truth.
You couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah.
There's different ways to get there. I had to lose everything, but it's okay. I got there, and I did get the lesson, the gift of it, and it really has served me my entire life. That was my early 20s, and it
Okay.
really has. Things. We went through 2008 and lost a lot of things, and it was like, oh, no big deal. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
right, right, yeah.
got
Yes,
this. Yeah,
yes. That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing. Okay. Well, how about we define for the audience? How do you define courage?
Mm. It's knowing that you're more than what you think you are, or you can do things that are harder than you think you can do.
Mm-hmm.
You can come back from things that you don't think you can come back from. So it's really knowing that there's strength inside of you, and it shows up in all these different forms. In
Yeah.
fact, the Latin word for heart is core, for courage, excuse me, is core, meaning heart. So
Mm-hmm.
getting through what you don't think you can get through or
Yeah.
overcome, or
Yeah.
you're fearful of doing something new, which we just talked about.
Mm-hmm.
That's where courage comes from, and it's
Yeah.
knowing that there's something bigger than you think inside of you, stronger than what you think is inside of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. And so, as you're saying that, I'm thinking about because we have a primarily female audience for this show, a lot of
Mhm.
moms who listen, and I think about how moms summon courage when it comes to their children.
Oh,
And they, there's that whole people use the word mama bear, it's this internal, you just pull it out of you, right? When you need to for your kids, and there's no stopping you. You better watch out. A mom on a mission is a scary person. But sometimes often, I think, we have a hard time doing that same thing for ourselves. So we'll do it for our kids or even a friend or a loved one, but turning that around and doing it for ourselves can often be much harder. So what do you think that is?
it's not trusting yourself really. And sometimes you have to go through different things to know that, oh, I've done that in the past. I've gotten over that in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the exact answer to that, except for it's a trust within yourself.
Yeah.
And courage is like a muscle. The more that you act courageous and identify that is
Yeah.
what you've done, because most women are multifaceted. They do 1,000 things in a day, and they
Yes.
don't see themselves as courageous. And that's why I wrote my first book, a survey from 100 women on the subject of courage. And
Mm.
I think the first step is identifying, who you are and that you are strong inside, that you can do some hard things. And if
Yeah.
we just don't identify inside, we're always taking care of other people first.
Yeah.
So take the time to look at yourself and acknowledge your strength. And if you don't
Yeah.
see it, then have someone else tell you that
Yeah.
knows you well,
Yes.
and they'll find something. I promise you.
Yes. And so that's interesting. So the first book was a survey of 100 women on courage.
Yes.
And what were some of the results of that survey? What did you find out?
The definition of courage was all over the board, first of all. Some
Mm-hmm.
people had health issues. Just getting out of bed in the morning is a form of courage.
Mm-hmm.
But also, a lot of women did not want to fill out the survey because they didn't see themselves as courageous.
Mm.
But once they filled out the survey, they were surprised that they told the story for the very first time. And it took time because they were trying to come up with the stories of like, well, how have I been courageous? And it
Yeah.
was very freeing for them, empowering for them to identify how they've been courageous. And the
Yeah.
stories were just all over the board and amazing in all walks of life, 17 years old to 87.
Wow.
And it was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And most women thanked me for this opportunity to see
Yeah.
themselves as courageous.
Yeah, that's wonderful because how often do we take the time to reflect on our lives and identify areas where we have been courageous? And once you do, I would imagine the next time in your life where some courage is required, you feel a lot more like, I got this, I can do this, right? I did it before, I can do it again, I know what I'm made of. And that's also such a gift to be able to live with that knowing.
Yes, and so the key here, anyone listening, and I found that in my survey that you have to take some time to reflect. And why is it important to do that? It's because once you identify courage, and a lot of people think courage is something like, putting yourself on the line, your life on the line. But again, courage can be small little things. What if courage
Mhm.
was just being who you truly are, not who society tells you are, not who your
Yeah.
family thinks you should be, but you just step into
Mhm.
who you know you are. It takes a lot of courage.
Yeah, it
There's
does.
so many different paths of courage. The
Hmm.
importance is identifying it for yourself and why it's important, because once you identify it, then you can use it more into the future.
Yeah.
And you can be and create the life you really want to live
Yeah.
and do things you didn't think you could.
So that's interesting when you were talking, it made me realize when you said, well, even if courage is just stepping into who you were really meant to be. And that made me think like, well, there's probably in our society, um, acceptable courage and non-acceptable courage. And what I mean by
Mm.
saying that is if you saw someone choking in a restaurant and you went over and gave them the Heimlich, you wouldn't even think twice about it. Society would be applauding you up and down, left and right. You might get in the news, right? It would be a big, big deal. But
Mhm.
someone who chooses to be courageous and step into who they really are, and in the process, may make some difficult decisions in their life about what has to go and what can stay and what they're now welcoming in is not likely to be applauded. This is going to stir the pot. We're going to make some waves. People are going to be unhappy oftentimes. So to me, that's actually a much more courageous act because you're going against the societal and cultural familial expectations that are out there.
It's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's very freeing if you can do it.
Yeah.
And also by doing it, you're showing other people that you're giving them permission to do the same.
Yeah.
And it's incredible amount of courage to even step into this life
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
happy and not let other circumstances take us down and for forge forward and try to live the life you can live. And there's a
Hmm.
lot of influences out there.
Yeah.
And that takes courage. It takes
Yeah.
courage not to complain every day about people or things and have that negative chatter. I
Yes.
put that on my challenge box at times. Like, what if I go a whole day and not
Yeah.
think of something negative?
Right.
Look at all positive today. It's a
Have you
challenge.
accomplished that? Because I don't think I have.
Not 100%. No.
Yeah. I was just complaining about my internet connection before we started this call.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's so unconscious. We don't even know. Like,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
So there's endless opportunities out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Be
And all
courageous.
about, movement in the right direction, not perfection, right? And we're just moving
Yes.
towards,
Yes. I
smaller and
like that.
smaller, little steps towards where we want to go.
Yes.
I often find that people are resistant to the internal work also, like meditation, journaling, um, anything really that requires you to go inside, even like the end of a yoga class, savasana. Some people have a really hard time laying in savasana at the end of a yoga class. Just being still and without their phones is a huge
Mm.
challenge. And it took me a while to figure out what's going on here. Like what is happening inside that is this is making this so difficult. And what I have come to learn is it is people's fear of what they are going to find out about themselves when they
Mm.
get quiet, when they journal, when they meditate. What is happening that they are not aware of, kind of on a subconscious level, that's going to come to the surface as they participate in these activities. And what will that then mean for their lives, right? Will it mean that a relationship has to go out the window, or the
Mm.
job that pays them really well, they've got to leave, or they're living a life that's totally out of alignment with them and they need to make changes. And so I think just doing the internal work is courageous because
Mm.
we don't know what we're going to find when we start doing it.
Oh, no. I mean, I think it's one of the most courageous acts there is. And of course, I know you've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work
Mhm.
on this. I had another wonderful opportunity through chaos in my life as a
Yes,
young.
always. Yes.
I thought my dad was crazy, and at Father's Day he sent us. He said, "Okay, we're all going to go learn how to meditate and transcendental meditation." I'm 11 years old. I'm
Okay.
like, what?
Yeah.
And later on, I just realized what a gift that has been my entire life
Yeah.
because I learned the difference between unconscious chatter in your brain and in your mind versus listening to the truth,
Right.
and the
Yes.
truth will set you free. And that to
Hmm.
me is why what's important about doing it. And it takes being quiet, settling that chatter, that mind. A lot of people call
Yeah.
it the monkey mind.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and what's lovely about learning how to meditate or other different forms of just being quiet and going within is that you realize that we have so many unconscious thoughts that run through our head
Hmm.
and our mind. And a lot of them are not true. They're just
Hmm.
habits. And
Yes.
we're not aware of them majority of the time.
Hmm.
So that is another thing. You get quiet yourself, then you become aware of these thoughts you probably don't
Hmm.
want.
Hmm.
And they're
Hmm.
old thoughts from the past.
Yeah.
And then you can identify, oh, I want to change that old thinking and pattern.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do it really is to get a little quiet and realize what you're thinking
Yeah.
inside
Hmm.
and feeling and identify what the truth is. I know that might sound
Yeah.
like a lot for everyone out there, but it is worth it. It's
It
how to
is.
become
Yeah.
living an authentic life, the life you
Be-
want, not
yeah.
the life you don't want.
Because that mind chatter, even if you're not aware of it, even if you're walking around completely unaware of it, it's still impacting every aspect of your life. So the
It gave me
only
chills.
way to
Mhm.
make change in your life is to become aware of the chatter and then make a conscious decision to change it. And you also, during meditation, and my listeners know I'm a huge, I pound the idea of meditation a little bit, maybe too hard because I love it that much. But you get to know the difference between the chatter, the mind chatter that you can just witness, and the messages that are coming from the higher self, which
Mhm.
are totally, totally different. One you can trust and the other one you cannot.
Yeah.
And to be able to differentiate between I can trust this message and I can let that other stuff go or change it or do whatever I see fit with it is a huge gift.
Huge gift. I love that. I love when you said you can trust it because that is the difference. It's like your intuition. And someone asked me
Hmm.
that on another podcast about intuition, trusting your intuition. How do you do that?
Hmm.
And it's just like when you need to do something for your child, those
Yeah.
moments and you know what they need, there's no
Yeah.
questioning it.
Yeah.
It's just pure truth.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's what it will give you. I love what you just said
Yeah.
about that. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be difficult. There's a lot of different forms, right? You could just
Hmm.
go out into nature, walk around, and that's a walking
Yeah.
meditation, but it gets
Yeah.
your mind more still and
Hmm.
it connects you to yourself a little bit more
Yes,
in a different way.
absolutely. And I,
Yeah.
I totally agree. There's so many different forms of meditation. And I think most people associate the like sitting on the floor, cross-legged, eyes closed with meditation, which I personally love. And I think there are countless amazing benefits. But sometimes if you're a beginner meditator, if you're new to meditating and your brain is very, very active and it's hard for you to be still, that might be just too tall of an order in the beginning. And that's okay. That there are so many other ways, like you mentioned, just going for a walk in nature, even just doing something that puts you into flow.
Mm,
Whether that be, some people really love to cook or they like to build things or they like to write. If you can get into that flow state where time doesn't seem to exist, you are fully focused on the activity at hand. You are very present with it. You don't feel distracted, anxious, rushed, but yet you feel quite alert and alive. Those are all symptoms that or symptoms. I'm a nurse also. Those are all, what's the word I'm looking for? But they help you to know that you've entered flow,
mm,
those different ways of being while you're doing that activity. And that's a great way to begin because when you're in flow, things also drop into your awareness from your higher self.
yes, yes. And I think we're going to also talk about some of the other tools out there. I mean, what you're
Mhm.
saying is if you find something you're interested in, you're passionate about, you have some kind of purpose in life, those are
Yeah.
easier ways to get into flow. And
Yes,
you feel like you're
absolutely.
contributing to something or you're really involved in something that brings you joy.
Yeah.
That's another way for sure to get into flow, which I love
Yes.
because you think
Yes.
of those times where you've done something that you're just so into. You're not thinking
Yes.
about anything else.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
There is no time, there is no past, there is no future. you are just fully and completely present in the moment. And it's the most amazing feeling. Recently, so years ago, I'll share this story. I have not told my audience this story. Years ago, before I started coaching, podcasting, all the things, I had this vision come out of nowhere that I was a writer, that I had authored a book. I had not written, Terry, I mean, probably college. That's the last time I wrote anything really
Yeah.
significant. I had never thought of myself as a writer. I did not like, it was never a side thing that I did on this. I just didn't do it. Okay. Other than to write an email or something like that. And I thought, oh gosh, that is so bizarre. Why would I have this vision? And it kept coming back periodically. Fast forward a couple of years later, I start the podcast and I start to write emails to my listeners. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden, I realize, holy moly, I'm a writer. I
Yes.
have entered flow. This is a absolute flow state when I write blog posts, articles, newsletters. And I was 40 something, 44, 43 when I started doing that. 43 years. I never knew I was a writer.
Wow. Wow. It's
So
beautiful.
right. And that came from courage, right? Because I decided to start this podcast, which was very, very scary, but I stepped into that anyway. And it was an outflow of that step of courage.
Oh, I just love all this. It just makes me so happy. I have a similar story about that, and I've found writing to be one of my favorite ways for me to go into flow. And I never thought. I mean, I was horrible in English, horrible writer. I was so embarrassed to do any of that. And when I wrote my book, it was from encouragement from another person saying, "I can help you write. Just give me the information." And there was these people that kind of encouraged me along the way. And then
Yeah.
little did I know in the process of writing newsletters, the same
Yes.
thing,
Yeah.
that it became one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah.
So we have to get out of our own way sometimes, or
Yeah.
the thought about it that we can't
Yeah.
do something. So,
Yeah.
you never know what kind of things are available to you if you just get out of the way of thinking that you can't. And it
Yes.
might be one of these little magical things that become part of a real part of your life that bring you
Yeah.
joy and flow.
Yes, yes. And it's so funny. Whatever you said in the beginning, I can't remember the exact terminology you used, but it made me think about my own experience and thinking, I think I thought I wasn't a writer because in school, writing is very specific, the way
Yeah.
you're supposed to write. And there's a lot of rules. And
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't particularly good at that. I don't remember being particularly good. I definitely was not particularly good. I was somewhere in the middle. But it wasn't really enjoyable. It didn't help me get into flow. But when I started writing the newsletter and my blogs, I just wrote, right? I didn't try to follow any rules or meet anyone's expectations or do anything for anyone other than express myself on the page. And that's when the flow state came. And I think that's a lot of what gets us tripped up is we're trying to follow rules, regulations, and meet expectations. And then it pulls us out of the flow.
Yes.
So I could have really discovered I was a writer a long time ago, but I had a mindset that was blocking me from entering that.
This is a very, very important subject right now, because we're how much of the time are we stopping ourselves from this flow state, which is really a natural state? Because I know you've experienced what I've been experiencing in the writing when you get all the what ifs and I'm supposed and supposed to do it this way or that way, and all of a sudden you're just in the process or in the flow. All of a sudden you get these downloads and
Yeah.
your intuition, your higher
Hmm.
self comes forward and you're in a flow and something comes through you that you would
Yeah.
have never thought
Hmm.
that you could write down, or
Yeah.
and it's a gift.
It
So you're
is.
using
It
your
is.
gift, and it's
Yeah.
amazing. So there's so many other avenues out there for everyone. Just have to get through that mindset that someone told you you can't.
Yeah.
Society, I don't know who told you. A teacher,
Yeah.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you have nothing to lose. That's what I have to say to you. What do you have to lose?
Yes.
If you never
Absolutely.
tried, you'll never ever know.
Yeah.
If you try and it's not for you, then you're not, you didn't lose anything.
It's all information, right? You still got
Yes.
information about yourself and what you like and don't like and what lights you up and doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think, particularly as we reach midlife, we've spent a lot of all of our life probably achieving and striving and perfecting and getting really good at things. And so the idea of going back to this idea of being a beginner, like the idea of stepping into something totally new, it feels really frightening.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And almost I'm like a little embarrassment or something. I don't know what that's about because we're not used to having to be a beginner.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
right. I don't know.
Yes.
There's something there like what's that about? Just because we're a certain age, we can't be a beginner. That doesn't make sense.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I agree. I mean, I happen to love to be a beginner personally. I think it's because then the whole journey's ahead of you, right? You're like, "Oh, this is
Yes.
so exciting. Like I can work towards mastery." Right?
Yes.
And that's really fun working towards mastery. So to me, being a beginner has always been very exciting. I recently started taking at almost 47 years old horseback riding lessons. And I'd never really ridden a horse. I mean, I've ridden a couple times on some trail rides, but never really ridden a horse until I was almost 47 years old. And I know nothing. Um, and I love it
Love this.
because every time I learn a little bit more and I gain a little more confidence and I, you know, connect with the horse better and all the things that you get to do when you're a beginner, you get to keep adding levels of mastery, which
Mhm.
feels really good. Now, I will also say that, like you mentioned, I've tried some things in the past that I thought I would like. And then once I did them, I was like, oh, no. I thought that was going to be so much different than it was. No, thank you. But that's okay. Now I know. And I don't have to live the rest of my life wondering, what if I just tried this, or what if I just did this, right? How
Yes.
many of us get to a certain age in our lives and actually have regrets about the things that maybe kept coming back to us, those internal whispers of things that we wanted in our lives, and we just really never took the time or had the courage to do them.
Yes. And when you get to the end of your life, what are you going to regret?
Yeah.
What legacy are you going to leave? You think
Hmm.
about those things. And did I put everything out on the table? Did I try everything?
Yeah.
And those are the questions to ask now.
Yeah.
What's left for me to try or do or
Yeah.
experience? And
Hmm.
the limit is just on ourselves. And maybe we don't have an aptitude for something, and we'll find that
Right.
out.
Hmm.
That's okay, but at least we
Yeah.
tried.
Yeah.
And that's the whole process is just at least getting out there and trying. And
Yeah.
I like to talk about fear because a lot of people say, well, is it fear that keeps us, or is it that we don't have our courage? It's kind of both. And
Hmm.
there's two acronyms for fear, and it's forget everything and run, which fear
Okay.
does make us do that. And in a real
Hmm.
danger, that's okay.
Right, right, right. Yes,
Tigers
do
chasing
that.
me,
Yes.
run. Yeah, okay. But another things, it's just because it's an unknown, and you're just like, that's too
Yeah,
fearful. I don't like the unknown. I don't like that uncomfortable feeling. Or
right.
you can face everything and rise.
I
Saying the way out
like
is the way
that.
through, right?
Yes, yes.
And majority of what we fear never happens.
Yeah. Hmm.
So you can look at fear in two different ways, and you just look through it on the other side, keep pushing past that uncomfortable feeling, and you'll be so surprised. Unless it's
Yeah.
danger, true danger.
Right. Yes. True danger definitely runs, but yes. And challenge the thought, right? So
Yeah.
face everything and rise. Okay, so what's the fear? How likely is it that it's going to happen? And if it happened, what's the worst case scenario?
Yes.
Yeah.
And can you handle that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
love that. And that does help you. It really does help you to look at the worst case scenario. And then like, I can handle that. I could do that. If that really did
Mhm.
happen, the majority of the time it doesn't happen,
Right.
but that's one
Yes.
way to get past it too. Yeah. So
Yes.
there's all these tools out here.
There are. That's why they need life coaches like us. So, do you specifically coach women on courage, or what is that your focus of coaching?
Oh, courage, passion, purpose, a lot of people in transition that know
Okay.
they've done, we're always in transition.
Mhm.
You're thinking that you've gotten to one place, then all of a sudden, oh, my kids are leaving the nest, or
Yes.
single, then I have children, or
Yes.
there's so many different transitions, or I'm done with this career. I want a new career. And
Hmm.
so I coach people in all different transition in their lives and give them
Okay.
a beacon of light that it is possible. And there's nothing that's been more gratifying to me
Yeah.
ever than for someone to tell me a dream that they had, and I might be the first person they told that to, and they
Yeah.
actually take action towards that dream.
Yeah.
And it's just so fulfilling. And I want to
Yeah.
hold that light out for everyone that it's possible.
Hmm.
And another thing that I talk about is changing the doing and the having and the beingness. And
Hmm.
that I wanted to be a speaker, scared out of my mind, of course. And so
Hmm.
I know that what I teach, I know what to do. Not always easy, but it's the being, embody it first.
Hmm.
Can I be an artist? Can I be a dancer? Can I be a horseback rider? Yeah,
Right.
ride horses, be a
Yes.
writer. There's so many things, and you kind of embody it and believe it. There's a belief system here too. Am I
Yeah.
capable? Do I believe I'm worth it? All of
Hmm.
so that's
Hmm.
to me the beingness part. So be and then take action, which is the doing part. Take small
Okay.
baby steps. Call and
Yes.
get a lesson, horseback riding.
Right. Yes.
Just one little baby step. So that's the doing. And
Yeah.
before you know it, you start this little process of be, do, have. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, it starts to come to life.
Yeah. So in the being part, and I think this is the hardest part,
Mhm.
personally. Maybe other people will feel differently, but I think the being part is one of the hardest parts because it's that belief, the part that you mentioned about the believing in yourself. I think we have a lot of unconscious beliefs that are blocking. So we can say, I am a horseback rider, right? I believe I'm a horseback rider, but there's also this little gremlin in the back of your brain that's
Mhm.
giving you a reason why you're not.
Mhm.
And we tend to listen to it even though we're not aware we're listening to it. So how do you help women really embody the be?
I love this one. This is
Yeah.
fun. It's kind of like you have to really put yourself in a place of almost acting until you start to believe it.
Okay.
And then also the quiet your mind so you can listen to the beliefs that pop up
Hmm.
when you think, I'm going to be a writer. And then all the yeah buts or whatever it is, the limiting beliefs that pop up. The only way you're going to identify those is to keep saying, I am a writer, not I want to be. I am
Hmm.
a writer. And then listen to all the limiting beliefs that come up. And then
Yeah.
identify which ones are true, which
Hmm.
ones are not true.
Yeah.
And because that's the first step, that's absolutely the first step. And when I wanted to be a speaker, I would do the limiting beliefs and turn them into empowering beliefs or true beliefs.
Okay.
And that's a process. So you have to take time to
Yeah.
listen. And then I would actually step in and walk out the door as if, okay, if I saw a speaker coming down the road, what would they look like? How would they speak?
Yeah.
And of course, my shoulders went back a little bit further. I talked a
Hmm.
little bit more deliberately.
Yes.
So it's silly. It's kind of silly, but it's kind of
Yeah.
fun. No one knew I was doing that. It's just a game
Right.
within myself that I was
Yeah.
playing. And
Yeah.
so you have to make it fun as well. But
Yeah.
identify the little gremlins or the shadows, whatever you want to call them,
Hmm.
limiting beliefs that came from the past that are not true. That's
Hmm.
all you need to know. Are they true
Yeah.
right now?
Yeah.
You don't
Right.
even know where they came from. And don't
Yeah.
judge yourself. Why did I
Right.
have that belief? Doesn't matter. It just identify if it's true and
Yeah.
change it into a real true belief
Yeah.
and just keep challenging it until it becomes real to you.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. How about visualization in this process? Do you ever your clients use visualization? Because I do find that, and I'm not a particularly fantastic visualizer. I don't know why. I have a hard time having crystal clear images in my mind unless they're a download. If they come as a download, then they're very clear. But if I am trying on my own to visualize my way into something I'm trying to bring forward in my life, sometimes it's like a not quite clear TV picture. We're all around the same age listening to this. Remember the rabbit ears, where it
Yes,
wouldn't quite
yes,
come in, the picture wouldn't quite come in clear. It's kind of
yes,
like
yes,
that
that's
rather than
funny. I love it.
HD.
It's true. Yes, yes.
But regardless, I still feel that it's pretty powerful, even though I don't feel that I am particularly great at it. So, what are your thoughts on visualization?
I've done a lot of visualization with my clients, and of course, they're either it's easy in the beginning for them or it's not, and
Hmm.
that's okay. But the effort of trying, it's almost like getting out of your conscious mind into a more conscious, an unconscious to conscious,
Yeah.
where you can start to create what you're actually visualizing. But sometimes
Hmm.
if you can't see it, it's like having a roadmap. If you want to go to New York, you don't know where New York is, and you don't even have a map. How are you
Yeah.
going to get there? So that's the easier concept of saying, okay, visualize a roadmap. It's uh, on the ocean, the East Coast, so you start to visualize kind of what it might look like. And what's so beautiful, I do a lot of future self visualization, and it's almost like you have a paintbrush and you have a clean canvas and you can kind of create it any way that you want. But it's really your intuition and your inner self that is creating this
Yeah.
picture.
Yeah.
So when you quiet your mind, do visualization, you're also just in a different space consciously.
Yeah.
So it's really powerful. Even if you only get a little bit and it's still fuzzy, that's okay. It still takes you into a place of where you can start to create what you're visualizing.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
usually don't forget about it either.
No, you don't. It sticks big time. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think it's important for the audience to know that you're creating the picture, not every single step on the path, right? So you're creating
Mhm.
where you want to go, but you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need
No,
to know that I need to take step A and then step B and make a right and then a left and then go through the stoplight. No. you need to you need to just hold the vision for what it is you're trying to bring forward and then trust that the steps will come. You need to take action, aligned action, but you have to take the action as it comes. You don't have to visualize every single point.
yes, absolutely. There's so many beautiful visualizations that you can do. They're so powerful.
Mhm.
And yeah, so I use it a lot, and it's a practice. It's something that you do have to
Mhm.
practice. So it
Yeah.
comes easy for some, and others it's not, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But just even just closing your eyes once in a while and just envision your day.
Hmm.
How do you want your day to turn? It might not be
Yeah.
exactly what you envisioned, but it might have helped influence the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up with an expression my parents used to say all the time, which was, wait, let me get this right. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, I
Ah,
think that's what it was. I'll believe it when I see it. And then years ago, I heard someone say, and I cannot remember who it was. It may have been Wayne Dyer, but I'm not 100% positive, who said, when I believe it, I'll see it.
oh, that's
And
good.
I was like, whoa, you have one of those like mind-blowing moments.
Yes. Yes. No,
And
I
it
like that so
really,
much. I think that's
yeah.
so true.
Isn't that so good? I'm like, wow, that
Yes.
really is such an easy way to reframe it to understand, because I
Yes.
grew up with parents who were just a very concrete, very three-dimensional, everything is of that you can see,
It's not
touch,
real
feel, hear,
unless you
all
see
that
it.
things, right?
Yeah. Right.
And so I kind of had that mindset as well growing up, and then to completely turn that on its head and say basically like once I believe this thing, it will show up for me is yeah, I think it's huge, a huge shift.
It's huge. When I was younger, my dad introduced me to vision maps. If everybody's heard of that, your
Mm.
vision for your future. You can get pictures and all that, and you put them on a board. And back
Oh,
then,
like
we have
yes, I know
right
what you're talking about.
vision
Yes.
board, the
Vision
vision
board.
board, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I did that. I did it in detail, and I wanted a moped. I didn't have a car at that point, and I put that up there and I put other things. And I ended up buying my own moped. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have a moped. I bought it. And then
Yeah.
I put my name into a drawing at the moped store and I won a moped.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, so it come, these visions can and these things that you want to create can show up in different ways.
Yes.
And I thought, oh my goodness, I got to sell one of them. So really,
Right.
I created a moped. And so
Right.
little things like that.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So besides your coaching, what else do you have courses? I know you have your two books, but tell our audience what is available for you.
I do a lot of speaking, so I'm available for speaking. I have my two books and I do some courses. I have the 6 Steps in Courage. I have a couple workshops that I've done. They're online. And, I have a lot of different things available, newsletters and lots of inspiration, but
Okay.
mostly coaching, speaking, and my
Okay.
books.
In your books.
And I'm always working on other things that you can join to keep
Okay.
that inspired action in your life to live your best life.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And what is your most recent step into courage?
Oh, well, signing up for singing lessons.
Signing up for singing lessons. That's right. You did say that.
Yeah. So I have no list. I see my list never, I always have a
Yes.
list. And if I get to them, it's okay. If great, it's bonus.
Right.
If I don't, it's okay too.
Yeah.
So, I have learning how to doing some dancing, more modern dance,
Oh,
and
amazing.
singing. And what
Yeah.
was the other one? There's another one. Learning another language, which
Mm.
so, my
Yeah.
list is always there. And
Yeah.
so I'm always thinking about them. But yes, stepping
Yes.
into, I want to learn a song. My mother is elderly and she is
Mhm.
declining, and I wanted to sing a song. So that
Yeah.
motivated me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's going to be courageous.
That is going to be courageous. That's fantastic. I love the idea of a list, and then you can triage the list, right? There's my
Yes,
nursing terminology again, but you can like move things up and down on the list based on what's going on in your life. And also the idea that these things don't have to be a side hustle. They don't have to be a career change. They can be if you want them to be, but they
yes,
can just be things that you do because they bring you joy and they make life magical. That's or they help connect you with yourself or with people you love, right? There really doesn't have to be a major end goal. It can
no,
just be for the joy of doing whatever it is that's on your heart.
absolutely. And I'm also a trained passion test facilitator. So I can help people do a quick little test, identify their top 5 passions
Okay.
today. They can
Right?
change.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that's cool. That's cool because I do think, and is that available on your website?
I do it personally. So
Oh, you
yeah,
do it
it's
personally.
available on my
Okay.
website. Yes. Also,
Okay.
I do have the survey for my first book, 100 Hearts Spelled Out, on my
Okay.
website. I also have a shorter one for men. Uh,
Okay.
um, so they don't lose interest.
Yeah.
Because men are very courageous as well, and we don't want to forget about them. And
Yes.
yes, I do have it, but
Absolutely.
it's a process that I do with you after you fill it out.
Okay. Oh, that's very cool because I do think there are many people, I mean, people that I coach who say, I know I'm not living my purpose, but
Yes.
I have no idea what that is. I wouldn't begin to tell you if my life depended on it. I couldn't tell you what it is. So we do, it's a internal process and a lot of meditation and journaling and deep conversation and things like that. But this passion test sounds really interesting because it could give a really great jumping off point
Yes.
for people to begin the journey where they really get to identify some things fairly quickly, probably.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
simple tool. It's easy, and you have to get out of your head a little bit to get there. But I help you
Yeah.
do that, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that with anyone. So let me know. It's
Okay.
something very simple that you can do, but just start the process somewhere in your life,
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how
absolutely.
old you are, where you're at in your life.
No, I'm always so amazed at people who are in their 80s doing incredible things, writing their first book, even actors that I admire that are still doing TV series into their 80s, 90s. I mean, it doesn't ever have to end. It's
Mm.
really our choice whether it ends or not. So, and the
Yeah.
data on the impact on our health
Mhm.
to living a life that's purposeful, where you are continuously a beginner, where you get into flow. All of these, there's tremendous data on how it impacts our health in a positive way. So
Yes.
why not? Right?
Why not? And I just want to add one little tidbit to the listeners
Mhm.
today on another reason. Because when you're in flow, when you're living your passion, purpose, joy in life,
Mhm.
you impact everyone around you.
Yes.
And if everyone started to do that, our world would be different. I think big.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
believe that one person's a ripple effect can have an effect, on your children, on your spouse,
Mhm.
on your friends, on your family. And then and the person at the grocery store that you
Yes.
smile because you have that joy inside.
Yeah.
It is important. So it's important that you find your purpose and
Yeah.
passions in life.
Yes, yes. I full body chills when you were saying that because I also completely believe in that. We do these things for ourselves and we do them to serve the world. And we will serve the world without sometimes even knowing that we're doing it.
Just
Just
being.
being will serve the
Oh,
world. Yeah.
I love that. If we end anything, it's just that just being how, you think that's not important enough, and it really
Yeah.
is.
Yes. It
It really,
really, really is. Yeah. If everybody takes anything away from this conversation, I hope it'll be that.
yes. Me
Yeah.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are such a beautiful. I just want to give you lots of acknowledgement because I've seen your website and your newsletters and all of that, and I just love what you stand for. And
Thank you.
you are really. I feel like I don't really know you that well. We're just getting to know each other right now, but
Mhm.
I feel like
Yeah.
you really are living that. You're showing people the way by
Yeah.
doing it yourself.
Yes, yes, I
Yeah.
am. Thank you so much. And yes, I am 100% on the road with all of you. I do not pretend to be, I joke because, in yoga, they talk about enlightenment and reaching enlightenment. And I'm like, whoo, I've got many more lifetimes to go. I don't think it's happening in this one.
I know. We're with you,
But
sister. I'm with you.
yes,
Yes.
yes, but I'm on the journey.
Yes. We're on
Yes.
the road somewhere, I
That's
think.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. We're
Yes.
somewhere on the road. I mean,
Yes.
sometimes we go off of it, then we come back. But thank you so much. And I totally agree. I feel like we've known each other a really long time and it's been a little over an hour. So it's
Absolutely a joy and a pleasure. And
yes.
I couldn't wait to have this conversation with you because I know that you're on the same path that I am on. And it's like kindred spirits when you are
Yeah.
meeting people that have the same purpose in life. So
Yeah.
thank you. It's a real honor to
Yes.
be here with you
Oh,
today.
thank you so much. Oh, I hope we stay in touch and
Yes.
keep communicating back and forth because this was such a pleasure.
Yes, we will do that for
All
sure.
right. All right. Thanks so much, Terry.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, that was so fun that Terry and I said, oh, we have to stay connected. And how can we do that? How can we make sure we stay connected? And we came up with an idea that really illustrates this idea of courage, which is doing an Instagram live. Neither one of us have ever done one. We are both quite scared of doing one, but we decided we would borrow each other's courage and do it. So we are going to do our first Instagram live ever on October the 6th at 12 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Standard Time. We invite you to join us and to come prepared with any questions you have about courage and how you can step into courage in your life, any questions about purpose, your soul's purpose, how to find it, how to start moving towards it, questions about meditation, journaling, any of the inner work. You can submit those questions. You can write them in or you can come on live and chat with us, either one. So we're super excited. We're super scared, but we're going to be courageous and we're going to do it. So come join us October the 6th, 12 o'clock in the afternoon, Eastern Standard Time. We hope to see you there. In the meantime, I hope you have a beautiful day. I love you so much. Namaste. Thank you for joining me on this journey of self-discovery here at the Midlife Purpose Project. I hope today's conversation sparked something deep inside of you, made you laugh, or reminded you that you are never alone. Remember, it's never too late to reconnect with your soul's purpose and live a life of meaning. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, rate, and review the show, or share it with someone who could use a little inspiration. It really helps the show reach more women and helps me keep the content ad-free. Join me next time as we continue to explore what it means to live with purpose in midlife.